a well-known figure in the diamond trade. He is the chairman of Dubai Diamond Exchange. He also happens to be the chairman of International Diamond Laboratories. Peter, welcome. I would also like to welcome Dr. Francisco Natale. He is the CEO and Chief Gemologist of International Diamond Laboratories. He will be taking us through the topic of identification and testing methods of colorstones, followed by a discussion on the current alarming topic, lab-grown diamonds, challenges and identification. I would also like to welcome our Honorable Secretary of the Dubai Gold and Jewelry Board, Mr. Chetan Karani. Welcome you all once again. Enjoy the session.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. So good morning, everybody. It's nice to see you all here. We were not expecting so many participants, actually. That's why we had planned to do it in the Golden Jewelry Group office. Then Tommy told me that there was more than 40 people, so we had to choose a bigger room, a bigger venue. And this is quite nice, I have to say. So, as Tommy said, I have prepared this for you, but you already anticipated. My name is Francesco. I'm the Chief Gemologist and CEO of IDL, International Diamond Laboratories. IDL is present in Dubai already for 11 years, more or less, with some up and down, but more up than down, I have to say. And we are working very hard to promote our lab. We are focusing mostly on being professional and do the right things for the trade, because at the end of the day we work to protect the trade and to make Dubai jewelry shopping a safe environment. Yes, beautiful audience today. Lots of new faces. Few I know, many I don't know. So hopefully we will be more familiar from today on. You always, and obviously you're welcome to come to the lab, ask for our service, and IDL mission. IDL is a gem lab, so we test stones, loose stones, jewelry, and our mission includes communication with the trades, which is very important, and sharing information. Sharing means that I'm informing you today of certain procedures or certain new things that maybe come out. And sharing means also that you have to share with us, because we need to work together to protect the market. You sell jewelry, and we help you to make it safe, because your job is not to test the stones, and my job is not to sell the jewelry. So we need to work together and make it a sharing environment. And this is the first, basically, the first seminar or meeting that we are planning to have probably 3-4 times a year. Let's see how we can do it. So we can always be in touch with you. You are in the real world, so we need to communicate with you. IDL, okay, is based in Dubai. We have another office in Antwerp. The main operation is anyway Dubai. We are based in Golden Diamond Park. Our office is there. We will soon move to a bigger office. So we will hopefully invite all of you to visit the new place. That's part of the growing plan. As I said, we test and identify and certify color stones. We do loose diamonds, jewelry with diamonds, with color stones, education, so we can do corporate training for your companies. We already doing it for some customers, so all the salespeople will follow regularly training from IDL and get some background knowledge that is anyway always useful with the customers, clients in the shops. They might ask you any question. You need to be ready to answer. That's your job. So today we start. The plan was to have a discussion today about gemstones, to have some color to our everyday job, because we can not only talk about synthetic diamonds. I think it's becoming almost a boring topic for the past maybe 2 years. We need to talk about that, obviously, but let's make everything a little bit more colorful. Okay, so there are more than 2,000 minerals existing on this planet. And basically every day they discover more and more, even microscopic, but there is lots of new material being discovered every day. Only a very small part of this material is basically considered as a gemstone, and even a smaller part of that will go into your shops. So what is a gemstone? A gemstone is a mineral, so it is obviously part of the mineral world, but it needs to possess certain characteristics, otherwise they will all be gemstones, but they are not. So they need to have beauty, rarity, and durability. So it is a mineral. A mineral is a substance which is natural. So I will not call a gemstone a lab-grown material. It is inorganic for the majority. It has a defined chemical composition and an atomic structure. That is the definition of a mineral. So if I ask you what is beauty, what do you answer? It's very difficult to say what is beauty. It's something that you like, but it's never, it's not like objective. Subjective means everybody has different taste. But for gemstones, we can agree that a beautiful ruby or a beautiful sapphire is beautiful. I don't think somebody would say, I don't like a ruby or so it is a combination of transparency, brilliance, fire, color, which anyway we will discuss a little bit more together. So a gem has to be beautiful, has to be rare, or at least rare enough to make it precious. It shouldn't be too rare, otherwise it would be, let's say, a collector item. You cannot, I mean, at the end, we are talking about production of jewelry or business of gemstones. So if it is too rare, it will become an exclusive piece of collector item. Everybody wants to wear something that is rare. You want to feel that your stone is something special. And durability. which means lifelong attractiveness. Durability, because anyway, gemstones have a cost, more or less, but when you buy a gemstone, you want this to last as long as possible. You don't want to use a gem that you know it will break or you know it will change the characteristics. And durability is based on physical stability, chemical stability. So physical stability, we are talking about hardness, toughness, and stability in terms of light and heat. So let's start from the first one. Hardness. It's easy to understand. It is the property of being resistant to scratch. So a stone that is easily scratched, it will most probably not be considered as a gem. Is this better now?
No.
With no lights?
No.
Okay, then put a little bit more light. From here. Yeah, I don't know how to. Okay, so a gem that is soft enough and can be easily scratched most probably will not be used as a gemstone. We agree on that. It will quickly lose the polish, the luster. Ideally, a gem should have a hardness of 7 plus. 7 is a level of hardness which we measure on the Mohs scale that goes from 1 to 10. The first 4 minerals up to the fluorite you can scratch with your nail. If you have a fluorite in your shop, try to push your nail, you will scratch the stone. Which means problems when you want to set the stone, when you are using gold and silver or whatever it is.
Where is that emerald?
Yes, emerald would be 7.5 between quartz and topaz. So what we basically consider is that gems should have at least a hardness of 7 for a very simple reason. We, especially here, we live in a desert country. Desert is mostly made of quartz. Sand is quartz. So we have quartz flying around and breathing quartz. That means that your stone has to be ideally harder than quartz. Otherwise it will be very easily damaged and slowly scratched by quartz. Of course, tanzanite is 6.5, but tanzanite is one of the most common gemstones in the market. So let's say around 7 is a hardness that is considered hard enough for jewelry purpose. And then, okay, you can see the hardest minerals are also the most expensive for a simple reason. More harder means more durable, means more valuable. So we have quartz, we have emerald, beryl in general, 10. This is how much harder is diamond compared to the other minerals. Yeah, this is just to give you a little bit of indication. So we said emerald is 7.5 up to 8. Some garnets are around 7, 7.5. I don't know, Tanzanite 6.5 up to 7. Up to 7 means that the stones don't have one hardness. It sometimes depends on which direction of the stone you are considering. If I try to scratch like this, I cannot, but if I go like this, I can. It's a physical, what to say, it's the physical proof of the structure of the stone. It depends on the structure. So that's why sometimes you don't find one number only. Toughness. Toughness is the resistance to break. The classic example. We say diamond is the hardest mineral, but it's not the toughest. If you work in a workshop, you know very well, if you make a mistake, you break the diamond. You break. You don't scratch, but you break. So you will not see often a old diamond with scratches, but you might see pieces missing from the stone. Weak gems that can easily break are topaz, diamond, kunzite. You know kunzite? So just to give you an idea, the weak gems are weak because they have some weakness points, weakness layers in their structure due to the crystal structure and all that. So for instance, calcite on the top right, you see how it like steps. That's a cleavage, it's called cleavage. Fluorite on the right. Fluorite will cleave according to the pyramid shape. Diamond, see this small line, that's a cleavage. Same as the fluorite, they cleave on the octahedron faces. So all this is very important because if the stone is weak, it's not a gemstone. And you need to know when you go and polish the stone or when you go and set the stone. On the other side, it's more green than this anyway. That's a jadeite. Jadeite is the toughest stone that we have. And the reason is that all those minerals are crystals, are single crystals. Jadeite is an aggregate of microcrystals. So there is no one preferential direction to cleave. So that's why the toughness of jadeite is so high. And then we have light and heat resistance, which is the tendencies to color modification due to unstable color. For instance, we have some orange pink topaz from certain regions that we know for sure you will buy it pink, after a few months it will lose the color. Or spodumene, again, kunzite, or the green variety, they tend to lose the color. That is due to unstable color. Color is due to some internal characteristics of the crystal, due to the light or due to heat. Heat and light are energy, so they will interact with the atoms of that mineral. That will slowly modify the internal arrangement, and the result is losing the color. Very often it happens to irradiated gems. So if you have treated the stone with irradiation, remember the first blue topaz, which means maybe 30 years ago, the blue topaz, we know it's treated, it's irradiated, okay? London blue, Swiss blue, I don't know, all these names. The first treatments which were applied was irradiation, and the stone was not stable. The color would fade. To solve the issue, they applied a second treatment, which is a thermal treatment. So it's almost like you fix the color. Once you change it with irradiation, you will hit the stone and almost like freeze the characteristics. So blue topaz is a stable color. But other irradiated gems, again, kunzite is the best example. I have myself one, which I bought it deep pink. You see it now, it's a very light pink. So to be exposed to lights or the normal temperature that we have, in some cases will fade the color. So
What sort of irradiation do you use?
now it is safe. Again, many years ago when they started, they actually realized that the blue topaz was still radioactive. So you would wear a ring, and when you go with there is a Geiger counter. You go next to the stone and it goes beep, 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 because there is radioactivity. They were using, old methods. Now they are using safe and totally different procedures. So, no, at the moment we can say there is no risk for that type of.
Is this across all color stones?
What do you mean? No. For health, as far as we know, there is no issues. They irradiate topaz, they irradiate some tourmalines, they irradiate some beryls, morganite, quartz, but there is no residues, there is no danger. At some point they even stopped in US, blue topaz were not coming because of this problem. They was not allowed in the custom at the beginning. So again, how can you buy a stone and after 3-4 months it will lose the color? That is not the right thing. Thermal treatment is stable. Thermal treatment is, yes, it is stable. I said for blue topaz it is used to actually stabilize the stone after irradiation. But in general, a thermal treatment has no issue with being non-stable. You can apply to anything. The problem is it going to change the color or not? You can apply to, we will see one by one, but we know rubies, sapphires are thermally enhanced. But you need to treat a certain type of blue sapphire, which is not blue when they start. But if you thermal treat any other blue sapphire, you will not get any result. So yes, thermal treatment you can apply to whatever you want, but some stones actually react to the treatment and there is a change. Diffused is a different process. We can talk about later. But in general, you can apply the treatment to anything, knowing that some stones will not change the color, knowing that some stones will explode. So it's a science. The treatment of gems is a science.
Sorry, when you go to buy these colored stones commercially, they only disclose that. So you have to be wary that it's possible to get something.
What can I say? Probably most of the time are not disclosed.
Not disclosed.
If you walk around in data, go ask, I want a ruby, they show you a ruby. If you don't ask, I don't think they will tell you this stone is being treated. If you ask, maybe he will say, I don't know, maybe he will say yes, but maybe it's not only heated, maybe it's also something else. So, obviously all the treatments should be disclosed, and that's why a certificate is becoming very important, because everything will be mentioned on the certificate. But some people don't disclose that. That's a fact.
What about a B2B transaction in trade?
B2B, they are, again, ideally they will disclose it, especially if they belong to some association, I don't know, ICA. They sign a code of behavior. They need to put in the invoice tourmaline heated or natural, or ruby from where, if it's treated. So if you are a professional, you disclose. If you are not a professional, you can expect anything. But yes, they should disclose. It's a treatment. It's something that has been done apart from cutting the stone, which is not a treatment, it's just a fashion. All the rest has to be disclosed.
So regardless of what sort of treatment, everything has to be disclosed.
Yes.
Nothing that's accepted as a standard practice.
Accepted is a different story, because thermal enhancement is accepted. Oiling emeralds is accepted, but that doesn't mean you don't disclose. You still have to disclose it, because stones don't, they are not born heated. You heat them, so you need to say that.
Also light and heat is affecting also on some of not-treated stones, like organic stones, coral, white. It's also affecting.
Yes. It is mostly, or more easily, on that type of stones. So, okay, we said hardness, toughness, light resistance, light stability. Then we have a chemical stability, which means being resistant to perfumes, the sweat, acidity of the skin, everything which is normal, or creams that people use to put on the skin. So basically this is regarding organic gems. And I said at the beginning, gems are minerals, which means inorganic, means have nothing to do with living organism. A rock is not a living organism. But organic gems come from living organism, which means coral, amber, pearls. What else? Huh? Jet, yes. And why are they so subject to this? Because they have a surface porosity, because there is organic components which tend to alterate. Yeah, coral is a kind of polyp from the sea, so it is like the skeleton of an animal. Okay, this is organic. So those 2 or 3 specific cases, there is an issue with chemical stability. Otherwise, let's say all the other gems, they will not react to normal wear. If you put them in acid, yes, they will react, but that is not normal wear. Yes, so, okay, we said that. Amber is a fossilized resin from a certain type of trees. Fossilized means that it's old a few million of years. Otherwise it's soft, it's like a glue. But keep it there for a few million years, then it gets hard, relatively hard, but it can be used in jewelry. And it's very sensitive to heat. We know that. If you keep it in your hand, it will smell like pine tree. So sensitive it is. And pearls, okay, natural pearls or cultured pearls, and that's why normally when you sell pearls, you give a small booklet how to treat, how to maintain, how to protect your pearls. Okay, so we know what a gemstone is. So what we do in a gem lab to test and identify the stone, we go through a process which is somehow similar to the diamond grading process, which is the 5 C's. Color, clarity, carat weight, cut, and certificate. We said before, now it's basically impossible to sell gemstones, diamonds, without a certificate. So the importance of the certificate is fundamental. Some people say that nowadays business is only paper. Somebody was telling me, we sell paper, we don't sell stones. If you have a certificate from a certain lab, it says, I don't know, pigeon blood, even if it's brown, but it says pigeon blood, so no problem. Anyway, so this is how we present our certificates. Loose color stones set in jewelry. Yeah, anyway, all the characteristics of the stone, carat weight, measurements, shape and cut, transparency, and at the end we will have the proper identification of species and variety. In comments you might find evidence of any treatment, any enhancement, because treatment doesn't sound nice, so people don't want to see treatment, but enhancement is more, it sounds better. And geographic origin, when possible, for certain stones. That's also another issue, let's say. But anyway, it's almost always requested by the customers. They want to know the origin, geographic origin of that gem. Yes, for certain stones, and when it is enough clear to be mentioned. Clear means that, see, origin is always an opinion based on many analyses and many tests, but at the end of the day, it's an opinion. You will never know where the stone comes from. But okay, you can be sure enough that it comes from. So whenever it is safe, we will mention the origin. Um, for certain stones, I mean, for other stones, it's almost impossible, and mostly there is no database, there is no research. Nobody has made a research on origin of peridot or origin of tourmaline. So we cannot, I mean, we have no base to work on that.
Because in trade, on this customer they ask, this area is for Colombia,
Yeah.
Tanzania.
Yes.
But as it says, they don't have any tool to convince the customer. So as you said that, assurance is a certificate, or the certificate also is not mentioned.
Again, from my side, I can tell you we try as much as possible to mention the origin. I'm not trying to sell my certificates, but I'm doing. So we know how to identify the origin, but I will tell you, sorry, but this stone is not clear. I will not put the origin, but I would say 95% of the times we can. Hmm? It's not only the color. It's the color, is the inclusions, is the transparency. They can be clean or not clean from anywhere. So it's color, distribution of the color, inclusions, plus something that we will see later. So it's not so simple anymore, because until some time ago, emeralds were from Colombia, stop, or Brazil. Then it started with Afghanistan, Pakistan, Zambia, Madagascar. Now we have Ethiopia. So before it was easy. If it's not Colombian, it's Brazilian. But now that China, there is a lot of new origin, new deposits. So the origin determination becomes a job, a proper job. So what happens when we receive a gemstone at the lab? The first thing you do is a visual observation of the stone. You don't start immediately with machines, instruments. And this is very important. It will give you more than 50–60% of the information. Visual observation is analyze or identify the color. Color is the it's the most important attribute of a gemstone. A blue stone is more attractive than a brown stone. That's a fact. There is nothing to say about that. But color is described as a combination of hue, tone, and saturation. Hue is basically the color of the spectrum. The spectrum, you know, goes from violet to red. This much we can see. We cannot see more than this. So the stone can be one of those colors. And that's the hue. But as you can see, it's not that simple. You can have a green stone, you can have a bluish green stone, you can have a yellowish green stone. And why these observations are so important? Because already from the color, you can almost reduce the number of the options. If the stone is yellowish green, you will not think about, I don't know, certain stones. You will immediately go into, okay, could be this, this, this. If it's a bluish green, same story. Because you know that some stones have a certain type of color and not the other one. So all small indications that will take us to identify the stone. Tone, it is defined as the amount of light which is absorbed. So the stone will look light or dark according to how much light is absorbing. If the stone looks dark, means that less light is passing through. If it's light, means light color, I mean light tone, means that more light is going through the stone. Similar, but not the same, is saturation, which is the intensity of the hue, intensity of the color. So for instance, we have 4 types of blue: light, tone, and low saturation, number 1. Number 3 is the